While I was carrying cement at the construction site to pay off my debts, the comments said I was the vicious supporting female character. In the year I was most desperate for money, I imitated the female lead, Winnie, and got close to the male lead, George, ahead of her. Because young Master George was just too wealthy, even the smallest amount he let slip through his fingers was enough for me to pay off my debts and cover my tuition. I'm a poor wretch who would do anything for money. To win the favor of this cold-hearted young master, I pretended to be innocent and delicate for a year. Just when it seemed like I was about to succeed and marry into a wealthy family, Winnie suddenly appeared in front of George. I thought my plan had failed, but at least the debt was paid off. I'm not pretending anymore. I've returned to the slums. That night when I was homeless, I met a strategist. He mistook me for the female lead and took me home. When the Green family's driver told me to get out of the car, I knew George had abandoned me. Sorry, Miss Wendy, I'm not here today to take you to play chess with the young master. The young master has arranged a birthday party for Miss Winnie and asked me to pick her up. The driver was still quite polite. We're all just working people. So I didn't make a scene and put him in an awkward position. I closed the car door. Is that so? Then I'll head back on my own. Actually, I'm not too surprised. When Winnie appeared, I knew this day would come, but he's not even playing Go anymore. He really loves it. George loves Go as if it were his life. For the past 6 months or so, he's had me accompany him to play every day. I live far away, so he rented an apartment for me in a neighborhood not too distant from the Green residence. To avoid the hassle of commuting, he even arranged a dedicated driver to take me to and from places. George is really hard to win over. He is like a nobleman carved from cold jade, aloof by nature and arrogant. He has more taboos than hobbies, lives a reclusive life, and shows little emotion. His only interest is playing chess. The female lead Winnie doesn't know how to play Go. I went to learn it. I painfully cut back on a few part-time jobs and immersed myself in the Go club, starting from scratch. I learned everything quickly and soon became one of the few friends who could play against him. That's how I gained his favor. Because of our shared interest in chess, George was also happy to chat with me. During one of our games, he once remarked with emotion, at the time, the Chinese-style courtyard and the lush bamboo and cypress trees outside the window were in full view. Incense smoke curled slowly and gracefully in the tea room. The jade-like youth toyed with the sandalwood bracelet on his wrist. His cool, dark eyes seemed capable of piercing the deepest corners of one's heart. Observing a chess game is like observing a person. Wendy on the chessboard resembles a gambler who dominates the field. Truly unexpected. I am indeed a desperate gambler, but I lost. Go is my trump card, but Winnie showed up for just a second, and my whole year of effort went down the drain. Luckily, I still have the apartment George rented for me to live in. The barrage saw this scene and felt satisfied. This copycat who's all about face slapping and trying to be cool is finally getting dumped. Ha ha ha, our beloved heroine only needs to show up, and George's heart will be instantly captivated. That's the difference between the real deal and a fake. I'm seriously done. Look at that expression on the copycat's face. Is she about to stir up trouble again? I hope the toxic female antagonist gets written off the show soon and stops being so annoying. I sat by the roadside, rubbing my face. I had no time to pay attention to these comments, because I just received a WeChat message from my landlord. The apartment George rented for me was due to expire today. I don't have money to renew the lease, and I'm now facing a serious survival issue. Where will I sleep tonight? I'll go back to the rental to pack my things, but I'm so poor that there's hardly anything to pack. I searched for the prices of the cheapest hotels and inns in City A, decisively gave up. If I had known it would come to this, I wouldn't have imitated Winnie's aloofness. I regret not squeezing more money out of George. Penniless, I dragged my suitcase and had to return from the most prosperous area of City A to the most dilapidated slum. Strange, according to the plot. Shouldn't Wendy go to George to play the victim? Where is she going? LOL. She doesn't actually think that George will come looking for her after she runs away for a few days, does she? She's definitely planning something big, as the #1 villain in the book. She must think Winnie stole George from her and is now plotting revenge. I just feel so hungry. When my stomach is empty, my temper gets really bad. The barrage of comments is just empty air. I can't get angry at it. Right now, I can't even afford the cheapest hotel in the slums. The map shows there's a 24-hour McDonald's nearby. I follow the navigation, dragging my suitcase along, planning to sleep on a table at McDonald's for the night. Passing through a dimly lit alley, suddenly, several burly, shadowy figures darted out. 5 thuggish-looking hooligans surrounded me. Ah, why is this cliché showing up here? It seems like the third female lead is jealous of Winnie and hired these idle gang members too. But later, the male lead will come to the rescue in a heroic moment. But George is with Winnie right now, so he probably can't make it in time, right? Wendy deserves it. Who told her to copy everything our Winnie does? Serves her right. But the villainous supporting female character shouldn't end up like this either. The supporting character should call the police quickly, getting hungrier and more annoyed. But the comments just said, social idlers, do they have a criminal record? I thoughtfully sized up those 5 troublemakers and suddenly spoke. How much money do you have on you? 5 minutes later, 4 of them were lying crooked and sprawled on the ground. I was coldly gripping one of them by the neck. It's been over a year since I last came back, and you don't recognize your own father. Is this your first day on the streets? How dare you mess with me, you bunch of nobodies? I was cracking criminals' skulls open before you were even released. With one hand, I gathered the scattered money into my pocket, and with the other, I slammed his head against the wall. Both the action and the tone were practiced and vicious. 5 grown men with hands and feet, and this is all you have. You think I'm a fool? Is there more? Speak up. The barrage was dead silent. No, no. What just happened to her? Was the supporting female character always this kind of person? Why does she seem even more skilled than the one opposite her? Holy crap. I just replayed it several times. There were 5 grown men on the other side. And she knocked one of their jaws out with a single punch. The other 4 thugs immediately wailed and begged for mercy. We've got nothing left. Really, ma'am, we're all from the same world. Please show some respect. We didn't recognize your greatness. Please be merciful and let us go. A young man in white suddenly burst in, staring at me in stunned disbelief. I suddenly heard an electronic voice. System said, "Host, hurry up and save." Wait. Isn't this the white flower female lead? Unfamiliar young man. I don't know either. System, didn't you say the plot of this world collapsed and asked me to come save the white flower? I looked at this unexpected visitor with some surprise. Under the dim streetlight, a tall, lean figure stood somewhat disheveled, dressed in white from head to toe, with features as striking as a celestial being, light in form and spirit, like a flurry of snow gently descending upon this tainted place. Inside McDonald's, I devoured my hamburger ravenously. The unfamiliar young man said his name was Bruce. He's a good Samaritan who happened to pass by and bravely stepped in to help. The barrage of comments is also filled with question marks. Who is this handsome guy? There's no character named Bruce in the book. It seems only I can hear Bruce and the System's conversation. System says, bangs, white dress, poor, looks right. She must be the white flower female lead. White flower female lead. It seems they're talking about Winnie, so they mistook me for the female lead. Bruce says, looks, your System is even less reliable than I am. Didn't you read the plot introduction? The System said, I'm responsible for so many worlds. How could I possibly remember the names of the male and female leads in each one? This small world has encountered some issues. The supporting female character has deviated from the main storyline, causing the female lead to remain in the slums. The limited information available suggests that she fits every aspect of the female lead's profile. She must be the one. Don't you know the female lead's name? Bruce asked me what my name was, and I swallowed the hamburger patty. Wendy, the System, as expected, didn't notice anything amiss and continued discussing with Bruce. The System said, it doesn't matter if the hero saves the beauty scene didn't happen. The important thing is that you've made contact with the female lead. Your task is to replace the second male lead's role and redeem the slum's white flower female protagonist. I curled the corner of my mouth. I couldn't help but sneer inwardly. Both Winnie and I came from the slums. She has a happy family, and even as a student from a poor background, she managed to get into an elite private high school. Her parents would go to any lengths to support her education. She has sailed through life smoothly and even caught the eye of the wealthiest young master in the school, eventually marrying into a rich family. What redemption does she need? Having been born in a slum, my own biological parents never contributed a single penny to my upbringing. Even the miscellaneous fees during my compulsory education were borrowed from kind neighbors, right after graduating from junior high. They grabbed me and handed me over to an old bachelor in exchange for 100,000 betrothal gifts. I grabbed a kitchen knife, went crazy, made a huge scene, severed ties, and ran away. I borrowed money everywhere, went to construction sites to carry cement, worked multiple part-time jobs to earn tuition, and was even called a vicious supporting character in the comments. Why did no one come to save me? Why is everyone rushing to give all the good things to Winnie? Two idiots who mistook the person. I thought somewhat maliciously that, at the very least, I got a free meal at McDonald's. After the meal, Bruce said he would take me home. I glanced at him. I'm staying here tonight. Bruce was taken aback. Sleep here. I slumped over the table, my tone indifferent. I have nowhere to go, the system said. What a great opportunity, host. You can take her home and deepen your relationship. Defeating the male lead and taking his place is your additional task. I sneered inwardly, but the next moment, Bruce took out his phone, tapped a few times, and turned the screen to show me. It was a page for a pre-booked chain hotel. Bruce said, "How could I bring a young girl home? What kind of idiotic system is this?" Bruce gave me a carefree smile. "The hotel is nearby, and I've already paid for it. Just update the information to your own when you check in. Do you need me to take you there?" I froze. I stared at the order page for a long time. "I don't have a single penny left. I can't pay you back." Bruce gasped in shock. Bruce said, "Oh my God, there's actually someone poorer than me. System, White Flower, the female lead, is about to starve to death. Hurry up and get some money." The system said. "No money," Bruce said. "What? How can we save the female lead without money? Can't you see that what she lacks most in the world is money?" The system said. "It's already a miracle that we managed to get you in without making you an undocumented person. The money you just spent on McDonald's and booking the hotel was all from an online loan." Bruce's expression froze for a moment. Bruce said, "That's really awkward. Did you take out an online loan?" Now I'm dumbfounded too. Isn't the system supposed to be all-powerful in the novel? I thought I could scam their money. Turns out the other side is broke too. I handed the phone back to him and pointed at the payment method on the order. "You used an online loan." Then I lay back down again. Bruce's embarrassment didn't last long, but it's okay. He snapped his fingers. "I have a way to make money." Bruce took me to the busiest intersection in the city. Then he set up a stall to tell people's fortunes. I can't stop laughing. I thought it was some money-making scheme, but fortune-telling. What on earth is this? Ha ha ha. Handsome guys really do have some quirks. Wendy sitting next to him looks so pitiful. Just came from George and Winnie's side. The male and female leads are having a birthday party at the YG Hotel. Super luxurious old money vibes. Meanwhile, the villainess and some random male side character are feeding mosquitoes at a crossroad. Such a jarring contrast. I also just came from the other side, but something feels off. It doesn't quite match the novel I read. George seems a bit too cold. Checking his phone every now and then, that's normal. His character is supposed to be like that, and they've just met. He'll quickly be won over by the female lead's sunny personality. Wendy took over half a year just to play chess with him, but with Winnie, he even celebrated her birthday shortly after they met. I watched the barrage with a blank expression and brushed off the mosquitoes that had landed on me. It felt like going back to square overnight, anyway. I've tried every trick in the book. What can I do if I can't climb up to that social class? I pulled out my second-hand phone to check for messages. No network. Your phone has an overdue balance. Hee. I glanced at the strategist beside me. Bruce sat calmly on the folding stool, exuding an unparalleled sense of relaxation. I couldn't help but point at the sign, $50 per session. Who would even get their fortune told? Bruce said calmly. Someone will. I just did a divination. And we definitely won't end up sleeping on the streets today. I couldn't be as composed as he was. I had already planned to start delivering takeout tomorrow. Divination, you really know how to do it, Bruce said. Not bad. Look, here comes someone, right? The first customer was a wealthy and leisurely city beauty, whose outfit was more expensive than both our lives combined. She was drawn in by Bruce's looks. "Oh, handsome, can you tell fortunes?" Bruce just glanced at her and suddenly said, "Troubled by lawsuits, haunted by petty spirits, ma'am. You should go back and quickly check if your father has any other children." your financial fortune after the age of 35 is quite uncertain." The woman's expression changed, and she immediately dropped her frivolous and teasing demeanor. "Master, could you tell me more?" Bruce straightened up slightly, his expression indifferent. "Your birth date and time." When Bruce was calculating and divining, he lowered his eyes and focused his mind, as if he had become a different person. The noisiest intersections slowed down in an instant, and the young man's earlier laziness, as if he had no bones, vanished without a trace, replacing it with an ethereal, cold assertion. Fate seemed to focus at his fingertips. The woman left with 1,000 thanks and transferred a large sum of money. "Wait, is he for real?" The crowd came and went, and quite a few who saw what was happening gathered around to watch the excitement. "Can you do a fortune-telling for me too? Give me a reading too." "Wow, so accurate, Master. Can we exchange contact info?" Bruce was young, handsome, and his accuracy in readings left customers thoroughly convinced, which surprisingly attracted even more passers-by. The crowd around grew larger, even forming a long line. I was so busy just holding up the payment QR code that I couldn't focus on anything else. The earnings poured in rapidly throughout the night. The live chat was also flooding with comments. "Wow, that's amazing. Is he some kind of fortune-telling genius? Can he do one for me too?" You know what? That handsome guy really did have an air of immortality about him when he was fortune-telling. I was watching from the side, utterly amazed. But what the live comments didn't know was that the immortal-like Bruce they were just wildly praising. "I'm currently complaining to the system," Bruce said. "System bro. Who was it that tricked me into becoming a strategist? Fooling me into thinking I could experience the life of a rich second generation. I was all ready to splurge, and now you're telling me it's starting from scratch in another world. Didn't expect I'd have to get back to my old trade." System rubbing hands like a fly. "Sorry about that. You can just call me little bro." Big shot Bruce. "I'm just an intern. Please don't report me to the main system." Woo-woo. Internship system and half-baked strategist. I suddenly feel that the already uncertain path ahead has become even more uncertain. However, Bruce was unexpectedly good-tempered and said to the system, "Forget it, let's take it one step at a time." Such a zen-like mindset. In the middle of the night, the streets grew emptier, and I kept checking the balance in my account over and over. Bruce glanced at the money. "Pack up and go. This is enough for your food and lodging for a month." I paused for a moment. "Are you trying to keep me?" Bruce said, "I'm this broke," but I did a quick calculation, and it seems we're fated to meet, just in time to shield each other from life's misfortunes. In the future, I'll do the fortune-telling, and you protect me. "Okay." I was taken aback, but sticking to the principle of not taking advantage of a good deal is a fool's move, I still nodded. Bruce took out his phone to book a hotel. I immediately grabbed his hand. "We're already so broke, let's not book separate hotels. Renting is cheaper. A 2-bedroom apartment for a month costs less than half of what a month in a hotel would. So poor to the point of having nothing left. What's the big deal about co-ed living? It saves money," Bruce hissed. "But it's so late now. There's no way to find a place to rent." "I can find one. I've been struggling in the slums for over a decade. I'm highly skilled at finding the cheapest and most cost-effective tricks for the poor." I quickly searched my mind. "I know a place where the deposit is only $200. Follow me." I dragged Bruce through twists and turns, and we quickly checked out the apartment, luckily snagging a decent 2-bedroom apartment in a tube-shaped building. Although the Sparrow is small, it has all its vital organs. The elderly homeowner asked for $2,000, and Bruce bargained down to $1,800. I directly offered $1,002. "You can fool outsiders. But I grew up in the slums." After signing the contract, Bruce gave me a thumbs up with admiration. At least I didn't end up sleeping on the streets tonight. I woke up early in the morning, recharged my phone, and finally got internet access on the second-hand device. I opened WeChat and saw a missed call in George's message box. I ignored them, opening the food delivery app. I went through the process and registered as a delivery rider. When I was about to head out to deliver food, Bruce stopped me. His hair was a bit messy. "Clearly just woken up, probably by the system," Bruce said. "Don't you have to be at school by 8? What are you doing going out at 5? Deliver food?" I calmly and rationally explained my plan to him. "I stayed up too late yesterday, so I have 2 hours this morning to deliver food and earn a few orders. Starting tomorrow, I plan to wake up a few hours earlier to help out at a breakfast shop. so that'll be a part-time job. The school's lunch break is also quite long. I can start delivering food right after class, and the electric scooter makes it convenient. You can handle the fortune-telling on your own. After school, I'll see if I can pick up some tutoring gigs. The only good thing about this lousy school is that everyone is rich. I'll go ask those underachieving rich kids today. Oh my God, the female supporting character is so pitiful. I feel like she's suffered way more than the female lead. What does a hard life have to do with her being malicious? Our female lead also grew up in the slums, but she's not as scheming as her. Bruce froze, unconsciously muttering to himself, even our orphanage doesn't mistreat minors like this. I paused and tentatively asked, orphanage? Bruce nodded somewhat indifferently. Yeah, I grew up in an orphanage, but don't go for that part-time job. I'll figure out the money. He rubbed his face, looking a bit more alert. Let me do the math for you. According to your plan, working like this for a month won't even come close to what I made from fortune-telling last night, I said, but this kind of income is very unstable. Bruce, the cost of living in City A is high, and I don't even have enough for rent, not to mention my future college tuition. Bruce stared at me intently. I heard him exclaiming to the system. Bruce said, "Why is white flour so pitiful? System, send money." The system rubs its hands together again. Sorry, I haven't found a rich second-generation heir's body for you to transmigrate into yet. Bruce says, forget it, I'll handle it. System, turn on the automatic order acceptance. As soon as a wealthy person in need of feng shui or fortune-telling services is detected, just slot me in. I just arrived in this world and don't have any reputation yet. The system says, understood. Accepting orders for you now. Bruce felt reassured and pushed me back into the room. Go back to sleep. This money should be enough for you to rest for a few days. You're in your senior year of high school, girl. Focus on your studies. I slept for a little over an hour more. Since moving here, I had to wake up an hour earlier than usual for school. I went to the living room to search through my suitcase, trying to find my school uniform. The suitcase, however, was empty. I frowned. Then looked up and saw the school uniform and other clothes hanging cleanly washed on the balcony. Last night, I casually washed all your clothes. I just checked, and they're dry now. Change into them and come eat. In the kitchen, clattering sounds could be heard as a tall, slender figure busied themselves with cooking. Is Bruce actually the homemaker type? I love it. Sister upstairs. I get you. It's such a contrast. I thought he was the unkempt type. But it turns out he's actually really good at taking care of people. I spaced out for a moment. The stove in my house had never been lit. My alcoholic, gambling-addicted father was fast asleep in bed, and when I was a kid, I had to be extra quiet when leaving for school. Otherwise, he would take his anger out on me, with minor scoldings or severe beatings. I'm not afraid of being beaten, but I'm afraid of being late. I usually go without breakfast. My mother doesn't take care of me. Every time she gets drunk and gets beaten by my father, she holds me and cries about her hardships. But the next day, she still ignores me and cooks for my father. The teacher, feeling sorry for me, let me come early and shared her breakfast with me. No one has ever cooked for me. I don't cook either, as I'm busy with part-time jobs. Cooking takes too much time, so I just eat whatever is available. When I changed into my school uniform and went to the bathroom to wash up, I was stunned again. The toothbrush and cup that had been haphazardly stuffed into the suitcase were now neatly arranged on the sink. There's a tissue underneath. I remember the sink last night wasn't as clean as it is now. He wiped it. Female supporting character. Stop looking. After you went back to sleep, Bruce cleaned the whole house. This kind of husband vibe feels more satisfying than the main couple next door. I'm staying here. I've finished washing up. And Bruce is turning off the stove and serving the food. I was going to order takeout, but I didn't expect this place to be a bit remote. The delivery time was too long. I miscalculated. Just make do with this to fill your stomach. He served 2 bowls of plain noodles in clear broth, and I was just about to grab the chopsticks. Bruce had already skillfully handed the chopsticks to me. I suddenly asked, "Are you used to taking care of others?" Bruce sat down casually across from me. I was the oldest kid in the orphanage, so I got used to looking after the little ones. Actually, I'm pretty lazy compared to my sister, who's a year or 2 younger than me. She's way more capable than I am. He was about to eat when, seeing me silent, he thought he had done something wrong and quickly apologized. "Sorry, did I offend you?" I'm used to packing things for the kids, and when I saw your suitcase, I just did it out of habit. It's fine, thank you, I interrupted his apology. But I'm not a kid, Bruce said. Anyone underage is a kid. I suddenly remembered the other things neatly arranged on the sofa. The bag with underwear was tucked inside. It was the only thing he hadn't organized. I lowered my head a bit sheepishly to eat the noodles, but then it occurred to me, Bruce grew up in an orphanage and was used to communal living, so he doesn't seem to have a strong sense of gender boundaries. As I was eating the noodles, I suddenly heard Bruce talking to the system again. Bruce said, "Oh my God, someone can actually eat the food I made. What kind of life has this white flower been living before? So pitiful." I paused for a moment. I'm not a picky eater. When I was a kid and at my hungriest, I even dug through the neighbor's freshly dumped leftovers from the trash. Life back at school wasn't easy. After yesterday's birthday banquet, they unanimously agreed that I, the former Cinderella, had fallen out of favor. The wealthy young ladies and gentlemen were more than happy to add fuel to the fire, watching two lower-class girls tear each other apart. Rumors from who knows where spread like wildfire. They openly discussed my alcoholic, gambling father and fabricated stories about my mother selling herself, mocking my past of scavenging for food in dumpsters when I lived in the slums. Comparing Winnie and me, the difference is clear at a glance. Many people started saying that I had snatched Winnie's special admission spot. They mocked me as a scheming poor girl who came to the elite school just to land a wealthy husband, with all sorts of unspeakable remarks. I was immediately and deliberately isolated. Some people fueled the fire, intentionally trying to embarrass me. I buried myself in my studies and didn't pay much attention. I could even filter out the noisier barrage of comments, let alone these rumors. However, I ran into a bit of trouble when I went to the cafeteria for lunch. No, to be precise, someone was looking for trouble with me. Oh no, those malicious supporting characters are heading towards the female supporting character. These young masters and mistresses always bully Wendy. A group of wealthy young men and women are approaching in a grand manner. They have quite a few followers, instantly clearing out a large space. The students who can afford to eat in the cafeteria are from ordinary families, and seeing this situation, they all move away with their trays. These nobles have exclusive private lounges for their midday breaks and almost never set foot in what they call the commoners' cafeteria. It's obvious they're here to pick a fight. Wendy, how do you still have the nerve to show up at school? Isn't this the young lady who has a crush on George? Two villainous female rivals facing off. The young lady exaggeratedly pinched her nose. Where is this stench coming from? Wendy, I heard you really enjoy digging through the trash for food. Life is so tough. Do you need us to donate some money to you? I looked up, expressionless. Sure, how much are you donating? They were taken aback for a moment. Then a dozen or so men and women burst into exaggerated laughter. A guy sneered. How ridiculous, actually asking for money outright. Another young master shot me a malicious glance. This kind of gold digger loves to act all innocent. Who knows how much she's already taken from George, and she still wants more. Let's teach her a lesson. As he spoke, he snatched the plate in front of me and dumped it over my head. I dodged quickly and didn't get my hair wet, but a large splash of vegetable soup still soaked my clothes. Damn, she's got some nerve. She dares to hide. The barrage of comments furiously typed on their keyboards, brimming with a sense of justice. Damn, I thought it was just verbal taunts, but these people are really bullying her. This is straight up harassment. Fight back. Supporting character. Isn't Wendy supposed to be tough? Beat them up. I want to see some satisfying revenge. Can she afford to pay if she hits her? These are a bunch of young masters and mistresses. Crushing someone from the bottom is as easy as squashing an ant to them. Why isn't the supporting female character saying anything? I turned my head and silently stared at that stain. The school uniform was washed by Bruce. Now it can't be washed off. The meal was overturned again, and it was the pork that I really liked. Once I start to get hungry, my temper becomes very, very bad. I was pulled up by two boys and led away with my head down, looking gloomy. Here again, when I first came, they often took me to the nap room. These rich kids never lay a hand on me in public. It was just a few slaps, a few kicks, some hair pulling, and a round of insults. Ever since I was able to enter the green residence and get close to George through playing chess, they no longer dared to bully me. Now that they see I've fallen out of favor, It seems they're determined to settle both old and new scores. Several boys blocked the door, and they pushed me into a corner. The young lady came toward me with her followers, and I grabbed the bottles and jars from the nearby makeup table. Damn, she dares to touch my Chanel, bitch. If you so much as scratch it, I'll kill you. That bottle of Chanel hit her right in the face. Amid her screams, I coldly threw one after another, hitting each person's face with precision. Instantly, the room was filled with the overwhelming scent of perfume. After they let out a scream and lunged at me, I expressionlessly grabbed one person and flung them against the wall. Every move in a brawl is effective, each one capable of delivering a heavy blow, even an elbow strike to the next person. The soundproofing is excellent, and there are no surveillance cameras. These pampered, privileged fools are so fragile. Just one hit, and they're clutching their arms and legs, collapsing to the ground, screaming endlessly. I held back my strength, just enough to make them hurt without leaving obvious injuries. Holy shit, this fight is so satisfying. It made me punch my idiot boss. So satisfying. Watching this got me all fired up. They fought well. I locked the door and blocked the entrance. The young master who splashed my meal tray screamed the loudest, his face contorted as I stepped on his shoulder, forcing him to kneel and wail. I grabbed the arm I had just dislocated and irritably slapped him. Shut up, you fool, it's just a broken arm, isn't it? I'll set it for you. Another scream followed, and with a crack, it was back in place. I twirled the knife confiscated from them, my voice icy cold. Shut up, all of you. If anyone makes another sound, I'll stab this into their eye. They instantly shrank back like frightened quails, not daring to utter a word. See this? I planted a pinhole camera in the break room. It's quite interesting. There are hundreds of videos of bullying, and even, I deliberately drew out my words, and they stared in shock with wide eyes. Oh my, how did banned items get in there? If these end up in the inboxes of your parents' company's competitors, how much do you think they'd pay to push these videos to the top of the trending list? What a huge loss that would be, certainly not small, if it were to alarm the higher-ups and lead to the formation of an investigation team. The fear in their eyes became even more genuine. Of course, all of this could just as well remain hidden forever. Now, let's talk about the bullying I've endured. Shouldn't you be paying for my medical expenses and emotional damages? They quickly nodded, chiming in one after another. Of course. Of course, I said. Cash. Wow, Wendy is amazing. It turns out being the villain is so satisfying. Smart and strong. Sister Wendy, I'm following you from now on. If anyone insults you, I'll curse them back for you. Why did you have to provoke her? Now look what happened. You got beaten into idiots and still have to pay compensation. Laughing like an idiot. This scene feels like collecting protection money. So gangster. These cannon fodder villains are all just little brothers in front of my sister Wendy. Take a good look. This is the biggest villain in the entire story. They can't even tell who's the boss. Little brother bows down to you. Taming the barrage is as easy as training a dog. They all spam the screen in unison, shouting, satisfying story, and the public opinion completely reverses. 10 minutes later, I pocketed the money and glanced at that young master. My school uniform. I'll pay. He quickly pulled out a thick wad of cash, speaking in a humble tone. I'll compensate, don't get physical, let's talk this out. Before leaving, I gave them another warning. If you dare cause me trouble again, I guarantee those videos will immediately go viral from the hackers' hands. Think about how huge the loss would be. It's nothing compared to the price you're paying today. I pushed the door open and walked out. The barefooted fear not the shod. They're more afraid than I am. There's still a little time left for the lunch break. So I walk through the hallway and wait for the elevator to go back to the restaurant for a meal. The elevator doors suddenly open. I meet a pair of cold, raven black eyes. The satin black shirt clings to the pale, cool neck, like frost-covered white porcelain. The emperor green jade, shimmering with a faint glow, coiled like a cold snake around the boy's collarbone. A faint, wispy scent of agarwood began to spread. George shouldn't be here. He was never at school at noon. The barrage of "Wendy is awesome" scrolling across the screen suddenly stopped. Then, the screen was flooded with all caps, George, messages. What the heck, George? Why is the male lead here? Someone in the restaurant earlier seemed to have contacted George. And he actually showed up. Ugh, it's back to the two women competing for one-man drama again. Wendy, the boy's gaze fell on the stain on my shoulder, his voice cold. Did they bully you? I looked at him without any expression. For a moment, I didn't know how to interact with this former employer I had failed to win over, but since I'm out of the game now, treating him like an ordinary classmate should keep me away from the main storyline, right? So I denied it. No. Then I politely stepped aside to make way for him and turned to enter the elevator. George's expression stiffened slightly. I had already pressed the button for the first floor. The young man turned around, only to see the elevator doors slowly closing. George stood in place, his cool, detached eyes fixed on me. I stared back at him expressionlessly and pressed the close button again, more quickly. The elevator doors completely cut off the faint trace of agarwood scent, as well as that searching gaze. The door was opened, the room was in disarray, with a group of people helping each other up, each looking disheveled and injured, grumbling and cursing. Upon seeing the tall, dark figure at the door, they instantly fell silent in fear. His eyes were icy cold, looking at everything as if they were lifeless objects, like the flickering tongue of a snake. Slowly, it swept over everyone's wounds. George rolled his eyes, and a strange light suddenly gleamed deep within them. A bone-chilling voice sent shivers down everyone's spines. How interesting. People around me kept casting sympathetic glances my way. I paid no mind to the food stain on my shoulder and finished the afternoon classes. When I have money, I can forgive the world. As I swung my backpack over my shoulder and left after school, one girl couldn't hold back any longer, pulling me aside. Wendy, how did you do it? All those people were sent home this afternoon to reflect. And I heard they received very serious penalties. A question mark popped up in my mind, and I instinctively looked up at the bullet comments, as expected of Sister Wendy. Just 2 words and George sent that bunch of cannon fodder packing. What's that? It was our kind Winnie who spoke up first. Don't flatter yourself, you scheming supporting character. You better not use this to get attention in front of George. How dare you talk to our Sister Wendy like that, you brainless fan. I'll get a van full of people to deal with you. Stop arguing, everyone. It seems like George is heading this way. I'm going to buy stocks from Wendy. Wait, why did Sister Wendy leave? None of my business. I'm in a hurry to deposit money at the ATM, turning the hot cash into warm numbers on my bank card. Damn, she even sped up. Wow, straight into power walking. How did it turn into a full-on sprint? Gotta run faster. No other choice. Reporting the distance between George and me in real time really gives a thrilling sense of a chase. When I returned, there were several luxury cars parked in the slum. The young man stood out from the crowd, surrounded by everyone. Oh my, Master Bruce, how can you live in such a place? It's too demeaning for you. A man who looked like a nouveau riche at first glance, with a big belly, in my stereotypical view. Such big bosses always look down on others. At this moment, he actually appeared somewhat obsequious in front of Bruce. I have an empty villa halfway up the mountain. That would be more fitting for your status. How about it? Would you do me the honor? No need. The lesser hermit hides in the mountains, the greater hermit hides in the city. Bruce politely declined, maintaining an air of profound mystery with a detached tone. Those who practice the way of cultivation keep things simple. There's no need for you to go to any expense, Boss Bob. I have already taken my reward. Boss Bob immediately praised him to his secretary. See, this is a true master, unlike those frauds I hired before who were more skilled in wine, meat, wealth, and lust than I am. Just look at the dignified aura of Master Bruce, carrying my backpack. I made eye contact with them. Bruce naturally greeted me. School's out. Boss Bob glanced back and forth between me and Bruce. Oh, who's this? I'm allergic to rich people, but for the sake of Master Bruce. I was just about to show some courtesy when Bruce, grinning, cut in before I could speak. My little sister is timid, so don't scare her. I raised an eyebrow slightly and looked at Bruce. Bruce immediately averted his gaze, scratching his head somewhat uncomfortably. Boss Bob's eyes darted, and he hurriedly slipped a still warm check into my hand. Clearly, the check that failed to be slipped into Bruce's hand. What a pretty young lady. Go buy some clothes and jewelry, miracle doctor. My allergy to rich people suddenly vanished. I finally showed a kind face to this world. After Boss Bob left, I deliberately dragged out my tone with a fake smile. Brother Bruce. The young man shuddered all over, a faint blush instantly rising to his face. I called out again. imitating White Flower's tone. Satisfied to see him tremble once more, Bruce quickly bowed and begged for mercy. Auntie, I was wrong. What? Don't your younger brothers and sisters call you that? Bruce said. They either call me White Bro or Brother Bruce. Anyone a bit older calls him by his full name without any respect, probably because he has an unusually good temper and a carefree attitude. I stared at him thoughtfully and said, "Oh, White, so tacky." I waved the check at him. Then, Master Bruce, why didn't you stop me from accepting it? Bruce shrugged indifferently. I can only take what is rightfully mine. Anything more would be drawing unwarranted karma, which I cannot accept. But that doesn't mean you can't take it. He gave me a sly smile, with none of the dignified, awe-inspiring demeanor he had just displayed. If I give it to you, it counts as a gift. The young man's gaze swept over the stains on my school uniform, and his cheerful tone faltered for a moment. Then he naturally put his arm around my shoulder. I froze, but Bruce seemed completely unaware of the boundaries between men and women, casually walking out with his arm around me. He waved his phone in front of me, showing a long string of numbers in his banking app. Believe me now, this should cover all your tuition and living expenses, so you don't need to work part-time anymore. Then, he glanced discreetly at my school uniform. His tone was natural, as if making an offhand suggestion. Now that we have the money, if you don't like your current school, we can switch to another one. I turned my head to look at him. Bruce seemed a bit nervous. The gentle glow of the setting sun swept over the young man's snow-sculpted, jade-like brows and eyes, so itchy, it felt as if something warm was melting in my chest, trickling like a gentle stream through my limbs. I gathered my thoughts, recalling the protection fees I had collected from the rich guys and girls during the day. Each one of them is bad, foolish, and loaded with money. This place is truly a treasure trove of good fortune. Elsewhere, I wouldn't be able to so easily and righteously line my pockets while ridding the people of a scourge. No need to change. This place is quite good. Bruce didn't insist further upon hearing this, as the system was stopping him. System says, "Brother Bruce, you just violated the rules. You can't take the female lead away from the key location of the main storyline," Bruce says. "Didn't you see she was being bullied?" the system said. "That must be the plot where the male lead heroically saves the beauty, otherwise how would the romance progress?" Bruce said, "Making a young girl wear a dirted school uniform all day. You system and the male lead are truly useless pieces of trash." Bruce vented his anger at the system for a long time, then quickened his pace as he pulled me along. "Hey, let's go buy some things. Get you a few new outfits." "You really don't have enough clothes." I said. "No need. The few pieces I have were bought back when I was learning from Winnie's style." As a broke person, I gritted my teeth and bought a few items. I wore them in rotation in front of George for a year, when he couldn't stand it anymore. The clothes he gave me were, at the very least, luxury brand items. I found a way to sell them all. When George asked, I said I lost them. I still wear cheap, low-quality clothes in front of him. Now that I don't need to win over young Master George anymore, I don't even want to spend money on clothes. Every penny saved is a penny earned. Bruce nodded upon hearing this. "Oh, then could you help me take a look at my clothes? I only have this one set right now, so I can't change or wash it." This was hard to refuse. I didn't want to refuse either. Pretending to be a sunny, innocent flower in front of George felt insincere. The Green family's butler privately praised me for knowing my boundaries, being warm but not prying, never crossing the line. But I'm actually not really interested in George's personal matters, too lazy to ask, but I'm very interested in Bruce's affairs. On the way, I asked him how he got that boss Bob to do whatever he said. Bruce, as I expected, turned out to be a bit of a show-off. The story wasn't exactly full of twists and turns, but it was quite long-winded. The boss, who runs a big business, believes in feng shui more the richer he gets, and there was a bit of a problem with his home. What followed was like something out of a novel, a hidden master showing off his skills, stunning everyone, and the crowd kneeling and begging for his help. I propped my head up, watching with great interest the person whose tail was practically wagging with pride, an expression more vivid and lively than any story. A chin slightly raised in self-satisfaction, a tuft of hair on the top of the head slightly upturned, swaying back and forth. Such a lively person. I found it amusing and chimed in at the right moment. This little thing could keep talking happily on and on. It was the first time I had gone out with someone, chatting and laughing together. It feels a bit like a date. Then, I hung up the call from the Green family's driver. Getting out of the car and seeing the destination, my eyelids twitched. Even with money, you can't just spend it like this. Bruce directly and precisely chose the most bustling commercial district in City A, where every inch of land is worth its weight in gold, and so are the prices of the goods. Before I could even stop him, he had already pulled me inside. I don't have a good eye for this, so help me pick something out, I said. The store you dragged me into doesn't seem to have anything that would fit you. At a glance, the entire floor is filled with women's clothing. Bruce showed no guilt at being caught. Instead, he was completely open. As long as you can wear it, just change out of what you have on first. I suspect he searched for shopping paradise that girls love the most in his navigation and didn't realize anything was wrong when he saw the gorgeous and beautiful store names and decor. Pulling me inside, the blaring Black-Pink music and the dazzling array of beautiful clothes felt like a spiritual baptism. Bustling, trendy young girls moved through the space like colorful butterflies among 100 flowers. Bruce was stunned. Clearly, as a straight guy, he had never seen anything like this. He instinctively took a step back, ready to make a quick escape, but upon seeing me, he withdrew his foot. Bruce seemed a bit uneasy and nervously asked me which section of clothes I liked, or if there was any style I disliked. Someone who is usually composed and confident rarely showed such an awkward and embarrassed expression. I really enjoyed watching it. I deliberately said, I don't dislike any of them, anything is fine. I really don't have a preference for clothing styles, nor do I have the luxury to be picky. I heard Bruce quietly encouraging himself. It's okay, there are no ugly clothes in here, saying that he doesn't have much of an eye for style. But she was the quickest to take the white dress from my hands, and the outfit she handed over indeed looked much better. Sister Wendy, that strappy jumpsuit set is super cool. Bruce has such great taste. I love that off-shoulder short set. It's so hot. Wow, Sister Wendy has such a great figure. Those old clothes were really ugly. The ballet-style gray strappy white lace mini dress is also so pretty. Ha ha ha. Bruce is playing Miracle Wendy, right? He's having a blast. Doesn't anyone notice how Bruce's eyes light up every time Wendy comes out of the fitting room? It's so obvious he's totally blown away. I can't take it anymore. Why is Wendy so sisterly and charming? What a perfect match. A cold-faced, super domineering sister x a laid-back, sunny Taoist priest. I'm totally loving it. The comments are finally saying things I like to hear. My mood improved a lot. But when I opened the curtain, my gaze instantly turned cold. There's just one downside. Bruce is too flashy. In this luxurious city, beautiful women are everywhere, but handsome men are a rare sight. Standing there, he towered over the other men, with a free-spirited and ethereal aura reminiscent of a wild crane drifting through the mountains, as plain and mild as plain water. It was already impossible to count how many waves of girls had come to ask for his WeChat. So annoying. If only I could hide him away. But then Bruce pointed in my direction. A smile in his eyes. Sorry, my girlfriend is in the fitting room over there. His voice was low, but I heard it. Bruce didn't see me, but the barrage comments already spotted me. Oh wow, where's the girlfriend? This couple is so sweet. Reporting to Sister Wendy, this guy pointed at you and said you were his girlfriend the first time someone asked for his WeChat. Hey, damn, Wendy seems to be smiling. The ship I'm rooting for is real. I raised an eyebrow and quietly appeared behind Bruce without a sound. Girlfriend, a beautiful, pale red flush instantly spread across his cool, pale neck. Bruce turned around abruptly, then immediately averted his gaze, acting as if nothing had happened. I used you as a shield. Too many people were asking for my WeChat. After saying that, he quickly glanced at me and awkwardly added, if you ever run into this kind of situation, you can use me as a shield too. I smiled slightly. Alright, White, I definitely have to block it back. The barrage said the nice clothes. Bruce paid for all of them. The checkout scanned a 5-digit amount. The store offers same-day delivery service. When Bruce was filling in the address, I was shocked and told him there was no need to buy so much. Bruce winked at me and added with a grin, these aren't luxury brands. Selling them secondhand is like selling scrap. You'll have to wear them all by yourself. Darn it. That dashed my hopes of listing them. A broke person really does understand another broke person. I thought he was going to the men's section next, but the escalator went straight down to the first floor. This time, it was those world-famous English brands. I tried to pull Bruce away, but he ended up dragging me inside instead. I don't need any cosmetics, not cosmetics. Hello, please put together a skincare set for her. The sales assistant carefully assessed my skin type and, based on my age, put together a set of ridiculously expensive bottles and jars. Bruce waited nearby, not seeming to mind the trouble at all. I'm telling you, Wendy, even us guys at least have face wash. You really have nothing at all. He really went through my suitcase thoroughly, leaving no stone unturned. I said, isn't there baby cream? Bruce said, where I'm from, this is all for kids. Even my two sisters, who don't care much about dressing up, at least have basic skincare products. As per Kathy's mom's request, without batting an eye, he scanned another barcode, the price of which made my heart bleed. Is it really necessary to buy something so expensive? Bruce shrugged. I don't know much about it, so the more expensive, the better, I guess. Then why is it that when you buy something, you go to Watson's? Bruce said matter-of-factly, girls should be raised with luxury, but as a man, I just need something that works. I can't take it anymore. Where do I have to kowtow to find someone like this? With Bruce here, why would we even look at the male lead? Wow, there are so many people in this live stream. Did they all come to watch the couple go shopping? I can't handle it. Bruce gives off such strong husband vibes. The way they're shopping in the supermarket feels so much like an old married couple. Who else gets it? They're seriously discussing what else the household needs. A gentleman stays away from the kitchen. And modern young people stay even further away from the kitchen. Bruce is nothing like that. I only thought he cared about basic condiments, but he even insists on specific brands for light soy sauce and cooking wine. He also picked out a good spatula, and when it came to household items, he pulled out a list he had prepared in advance. I leaned against the shelf nearby, impatiently hanging up yet another incoming call. While we were shopping, the driver called a few times. And the rest were all calls from George. I had already set it to silent, and now, being disturbed, I simply turned it off completely. I looked up and saw the figure in white, my tone unconsciously softening. How do you have so much experience? Bruce compared the fabric composition of the bedsheet without looking up. I often go shopping with Uncle Lee and Aunt Jane. The orphanage has a large population and high consumption. I have some experience in buying good things within a limited budget. I asked, was life there good? Bruce showed a nostalgic expression and smiled. Very good. Leaving the mall, the city lights illuminated the night, and around the corner was the night market food street. Bruce and I both stopped in front of the grilled cold noodle stall and exchanged a glance. The summer night breeze was cool. The topic turned to the place where he grew up. Bruce was initially raised in a Taoist temple on the mountain, with no parents. His uncles and senior fellow apprentices taught him a bit of everything, and he seemed to have a natural talent for it, picking up everything just by listening in. When he was a bit older, he was formally taken in by his master as the last disciple. When I was 10, I went down the mountain with my uncles for training. Being a kid, I loved the excitement and ended up getting separated from them. I started telling fortunes for people. And then I was picked up by the director of Spring Welfare Home, also known as Mama Kathy. A few days later, my uncle came to get me. After some thought, he said it was my fate, so he gave some money and arranged for me to stay there and go to school, saying it would keep me from being out of touch with society. For me, it was just moving from the mountain to the foot of the mountain, and Mama Kathy was better at taking care of kids than my unreliable uncles. I preferred Spring Welfare Home. Logically, it should be my turn to speak, but when I was a child, I didn't even have it as good as an orphan. Every word of it would grate on the ears of those who had a happy childhood, and without any embellishment, it could bring a flood of tears from the audience. The breeze tonight is so pleasant. I really don't want to bring up those unlucky past events. She kept pestering him with endless questions. Will you go back to the Taoist temple later? I go back every year, mostly during the summer break because it's cooler up in the mountains, so every summer, a few little ones follow me back to the temple, and my master's senior brother ends up making all of us practice martial arts and Tai Chi together. I listened with envy and couldn't help but interject. I want to go too. Bruce turned around, his eyes fixed intently on me. He smiled at me like a spring breeze melting the snow. I'll definitely take you next time. On the bustling street, under the orange streetlights, someone was playing the guitar beneath the overpass, singing just then, "I don't love the boring world, I only adore your eyes and brows." In the lingering melody, I heard the sound of my own heartbeat, deafeningly loud. Back at the rental apartment, Bruce had already taken the initiative to unpack and arrange the newly bought items. While washing up, all the bottles and containers had been opened and neatly placed. Bruce was carrying the newly purchased bed sheets, duvet covers, and clothes to the washing machine. While looking for a towel before taking a shower, I glanced up unintentionally. The balcony was lit by an incandescent lamp, and the young man lowered his head, diligently scrubbing the clothes. It was the school uniform that had been splashed with vegetable soup. Behind him was an all-consuming darkness. As a child, I feared the night the most. What fell was not just the curtain of darkness, but also my father's liquor bottle. After growing up, I lived alone and didn't like the night. Through the window, I could see the lights of countless homes and smell the aroma of food drifting in with the wind. Later, by George's side, the nights at Green Manor were oppressively silent, heavy enough to break a poor soul's back. But now, the young man in white just stands there, exuding an unusually reassuring sense of stability. The comments were still praising Bruce, but I just kept looking at him. This is the 24th hour since I met Bruce. The comments all thought Bruce was here to redeem my CP, but only I know he is a visitor from another world, a strategist who mistook the female lead. Even this day feels like it was stolen. My phone had just turned on when George's call popped up again, as if it were repeatedly waking me up. I hung up directly. The reaction to rejecting a call is different from turning off the phone. The next moment, a WeChat message popped up. "George, did you move out? Transfer, $100,000, George, where are you? Transfer." I opened WeChat and saw over a dozen missed calls. Then I went to the settings and logged out. I don't need the money anymore, so there's no need to deal with the male lead, George. Before, the comments would only accuse me of playing hard to get, but now the tone has changed. Ha, is the male lead still calling? The female supporting character has run off with someone. Your wife doesn't want you anymore. Don't you dare slander my Wendy and Master Bruce, you idiot. Fan upstairs. Consider this a warning. Got my period while taking a shower. What a disaster. I'm out of sanitary pads. I called out to Bruce through the door. Bruce came over immediately. The supermarket downstairs should have it. Don't order delivery. I'll go buy it. Right after. I heard him grab his keys and head out. Bruce returned quickly, hanging a plastic bag on the bathroom door handle. He called out to me that he was going inside first, then closed the door. I brought the plastic bag in. It had both day and night supplies, all bought thoroughly. Even the transparent plastic bag was carried all the way back. When I came out after changing, Bruce had brewed a cup of brown sugar water and handed me a pack of heating pads. "Here, drink this and get some rest." I bought it on a whim. I took it, looking at him with a half smile. "So experienced. How many girlfriends have you had?" Bruce scratched his head. "Never been in a relationship, but he's really good at taking care of people, especially when it comes to sanitary pads. Many men avoid them as if they were something filthy." Bruce had a big question mark over his head. He was very puzzled. What's the essential difference between sanitary pads and toilet paper? Aren't they both daily consumables? Sanitary pads are also on the procurement list. You don't know. But the quantities for day and night use are fixed. Daytime use requires twice as many. Brown sugar water. We supply it every day. It helps many people feel better, and heating pads are also always available. I took a deep breath and sighed sincerely. "I really want to go to your place more and more," Bruce said. "Okay, it's really lively there. Of course, you can come over and have fun. It just so happens that we often need volunteers. If there's no volunteer work, I'll just do it. You can enjoy a few days of being taken care of there." I smiled and said, "Sure." As I turned around, I slowly withdrew my smile, separated by two worlds. "How can I go see the place where you grew up?" The next day was Saturday, and during breakfast, Bruce received a phone call. It was someone asking him to handle feng shui matters. Bruce double-checked the address, and I froze mid-sip of my soup. I mouthed to him, "Speakerphone." Bruce paused for a moment, then turned on the speakerphone. It was indeed the voice of the Green family's butler. After hanging up the phone, Bruce was also looking at me. He had a conflicted expression. as if he didn't know how to start the conversation with me. The current situation is, I know they are strategists, and they know the plot but don't know that I know. System says, oh my god, the male lead George has come knocking. My automatic order matching didn't pair with the Green family. There's a 50-50 chance that the Green family's feng shui is actually problematic, and the other half is that he's coming to hold you accountable. After all, you've just run off with the female lead. I'm in the stratosphere. The system and the live comments aren't connected. The system and Bruce still don't know I'm the supporting female character. Bruce said, with ill intentions. George is insane. His family's feng shui is excellent. So how could any problem arise that would lead him to Bruce so quickly? However, this young Master George has a capricious temper. I don't reply to his messages or calls. He actually had someone contact Bruce directly. My mind was racing, anxiously analyzing George's underlying motives. Bruce called my name twice. Miss Wendy, what's wrong? Do you know the person on the phone? I steadied myself and chose to confess part of the truth. I omitted the part about being able to see the bullet comments and the protagonist settings, as well as the fact that I deliberately approached Georgie. The public version is that we became friends over chess, met by chance, and I visited the Green residence a few times to play chess with George. Bruce nodded thoughtfully, suddenly asking, are you two very close? Bruce looked a bit nervous. I smiled and said, we've only played chess a few times, not very familiar. Bruce's phone rang again. Master Bruce, our car is downstairs. Bruce, the barrage, and the system all changed their expressions at the same time. Bruce and I got into the Green family's car together. The driver sitting in the front greeted me, Miss Wendy, nice to see you again. I could tell he was full of curiosity and eager to ask something, but unfortunately, the dignified and composed butler was sitting right beside him. The butler also turned to greet me, then frowned as he glanced at the messy environment outside the car window. His words deliberately hinted at the familiarity between me and George. Miss Wendy, this place is truly unworthy of your status. Wasn't the apartment the young master rented for you before much better? I smiled slightly and shut him down with a single sentence. Can't afford to renew the lease. The butler choked on his words, then turned to interrogate Bruce, probing for information about him in every possible way. I glanced at Bruce, who was focused on asking what exactly had happened at the Green residence. It seems that no matter how well-connected George is, he can't uncover the specific details of this otherworldly visitor. The luxury car drove through the gate and stopped outside a private garden. As soon as he got out of the car, Bruce couldn't help but exclaim, wow, a dragon vein. The feng shui here is incredibly prosperous. The butler respectfully stepped aside and made way. You flatter me, master, but this is the family's ancestral estate. Along the way, we passed through flowers and willows, pavilions and terraces. At every step, Bruce whispered in my ear, explaining that this stone was worth hundreds of thousands, that tree was worth millions. The live comments were also explaining, as if they wanted to mark a stinging price tag on every flower. I said, how do you know so much? I've been here several times and never realized the bricks and stones under my feet were this expensive. Bruce said, go often enough, and they'll show off on their own. The two broke guys exchanged a glance and cursed in unison. What a damn waste of money. The butler glanced at the two people whispering and laughing together, frowned, and quickly walked away. Deep in the courtyard, beyond a cluster of bamboo and cypress trees, stood a cold and aloof young man under the corridor. Because the imperial green jade pendant on his chest shimmered with a deep, lustrous glow, his black robe was as smooth as polished silk, and his entire demeanor exuded an indescribable nobility. He glanced over from a distance. At that moment, my arm was wrapped around Bruce's, and I was whispering to him. George's expression suddenly darkened. As we got closer, I noticed there was a girl standing nearby. She is the genuine white flower female lead with straight bangs and a little white dress, Winnie. I know she is here. That's exactly why I insisted on coming with Bruce. I lowered my eyes, hiding those dark and unspeakable thoughts. Winnie hopped down the steps in a few quick strides and familiarly took my hand. Wendy, I was waiting for you on my birthday. Why didn't you come? Did something happen? She is so adorable, even though the supporting female character who grew up with her is imitating her like this. She isn't angry at all and is still so concerned about her. The system can't see the barrage, so it directly attacks with the mic. The the supporting female character is really putting on an act, truly worthy of being the real white flower female lead, much brighter and more generous than my forced act. From childhood to adulthood, we were both in the slums. I am gloomy and violent, while Winnie is sunny and lively, much more likable than I am, but I don't need to win George over anymore. So I didn't even bother pretending and coldly retorted. A poor person like me can't even get through the hotel doors, and you never invited me in the first place. Winnie's smile froze. She was about to say something but was interrupted by another voice from behind. Wendy. George walked down the steps, his raven black eyes sweeping over me coldly. Before heading out today, the comments were giving me terrible advice. Sister Wendy, sexiness is nothing compared to cuteness. Throw away your bangs and that little white dress. And wear that off-shoulder halter top and shorts outfit from yesterday with confidence. Okay, agreed. I love it. She actually changed into that outfit. Could she actually see the comments? I did listen to the comments. They might be crazy, but their taste is better than mine. Panting, look at me, my dear. The red camisole is so hot. Unfortunately, when I went out, Bruce saw me and his eyelid twitched. He said something about the morning being cold and being afraid I'd freeze. Then he tore off his white short-sleeved shirt. Now it's being worn over the camisole. His clothes, on me, fit just right as an oversized cardigan. George's gaze fixed on that men's shirt, his expression shifting slightly. Then, walking straight past Winnie, the young man stopped in front of me. Why didn't you answer the phone? His tone was surprisingly calm. Wendy, didn't you see the message I sent you? Bruce's gaze instantly swept over. I couldn't be bothered to pretend and casually made up an excuse. My phone ran out of credit. The courtyard fell into silence. George let out a low chuckle from his throat, staring straight at me for a long moment. Bruce instinctively and subtly stepped in front of me. Only then did George notice Bruce. He said with an inexplicable tone, "So you're the great Bruce." His gaze was as if he had spotted some novel toy. Bruce slightly frowned and got straight to the point. "Young Master George. You mentioned there's an evil presence in the house. Please take me to see it first." "George, Uncle Zhao." The butler nodded to us and gestured with a white-gloved hand, inviting us to proceed. "Master, please come this way with me." I had only taken 2 steps before being stopped. I gave the butler a chilly glance and tightened my grip on Bruce's arm. I emphasized once more, "We are together." The butler paused, looking at us with a troubled expression. George leisurely twirled his agarwood beads, his dark eyes fixed on the two of us. "You too," Bruce was about to speak, but I cut him off. "Yes, us." I stared back at him without any intention of backing down, enunciating each word clearly. "Master George, Bruce is my boyfriend." Then I took the opportunity to pull the person beside me a little closer. I was so happy that I couldn't help but laugh out loud. George's fingers, which were twirling the agarwood beads, suddenly stopped. "Oh wow, oh wow. This is my boyfriend, Sister Wendy. Are you satisfied now? The battle is about to begin." I'm dying of laughter. How can the expressions of these 4 people be so dramatic? He looks at her, she looks at him, he looks at her, everyone's looking at someone else. Ha 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 ha. Bruce didn't even dare to move his hand. Ha ha ha. White is so pure. Both of them have already admitted it, so why wouldn't they be together? Bruce froze completely, and I naturally took the opportunity to move closer. My lips deliberately brushed past his fair jaw, so lightly it was almost a whisper. "You said it, block it back," Bruce said. The young man's knuckles instantly turned white, his voice trembling. Okay, the system said. "Bruce, it seems you have a fever." Bruce and George, their faces, one red and one pale. George's voice was icy cold. "Boyfriend." The young man's tone was frighteningly calm. "Wendy, isn't this considered puppy love? Who are you to say that about me?" I spread my hands and acted shamelessly. "You're right, then go tell the teacher." George was speechless, telling on the teacher. Ha ha ha, what a childish move. I really like Sister Wendy, such a little venomous flower. The butler, having honed his skills in the green household, noticed the young master's displeasure and stepped in to smooth things over. "Miss Wendy, I believe I heard you mention in the car that you're not feeling well. We're heading to the ancestral hall. And women in their special time of the month are not allowed to enter, so I'm sorry, you can't go in." "Wait a moment, you..." Bruce's eyes were shocked, as if looking at some remnant of the old Qing dynasty feudalism. with such a large family business, can it be destroyed by menstrual blood? The butler's expression changed. Master, how can you say such filthy words? Bruce said. What's filthy about it? I just asked DeepSeek, and it encourages you to sign up for the menstrual destigmatization movement. Being in your 60s is the perfect age to make a difference. Dying of laughter. White can talk all he wants. My sassy version of ChatGPT says the butler's menstrual blood has gone to his brain. The butler, who was actually only in his 50s, felt his vision go dark beside him. Winnie couldn't help but let out a snort of laughter. The butler, having worked for decades, still managed to save face. Master Bruce, the rule is that women on their period are not allowed to burn incense or enter the temple. The Green family ancestral hall is especially sacred. So, Bruce clicked his tongue in annoyance and asked doubtfully, who told you that? Reputable Taoist temples and Buddhist monasteries don't have such rules. Of course, it has to be a legitimate one. Did you go to an unregulated one? Even dilapidated temples in remote mountains aren't afraid of menstruation. With such abundant dragon energy here, what is there to fear? Before the words had even finished, the live chat was already flooded with comments. Master, family, this is what a true master is. How dare some places still claim that menstrual blood is impure and forbid entry to temples? White was really raised well by the Taoist temple and the orphanage. This guy is so righteous it's almost eerie. Ha ha ha. Did no one notice Bruce has entered combat mode? Boss Bob is way more superstitious than the butler. Bruce was just giving a science lesson, not being aggressive. Well, you rascal. The moment you step into your rival's house, you don't even want to make money anymore. You truly are an expert, master. George suddenly spoke up, a smile on his face. The older generation tends to be a bit superstitious. But it's better to be safe than sorry when it comes to evil spirits. Let Wendy stay and catch up with me. No, I don't think there's anything to catch up on. Wendy, the young man cut me off with a smile. Your parents came to visit me a couple of days ago. The words that followed left me frozen in shock. They seemed to be looking for you. I instantly felt the blood in my entire body freeze. My arms suddenly dropped. I heard my voice say, White, you go first. Bruce was pulled away by the butler in confusion. George curled the corner of his lips into a smile and glanced lightly at Winnie. Winnie immediately beamed and moved closer to Bruce. Master Bruce, I saw what happened at the ancestral hall last night. Let me go with you. I'd love to see it for myself. I'm so curious about this. You're only a few years older than me, but you're this amazing. My already gloomy expression from earlier turned even more unpleasant at that moment. Bruce hadn't spoken yet. I suddenly grabbed Winnie and pulled her over. The girl screamed exaggeratedly, as if in great pain. Winnie is being a bit too dramatic. How dare she try to steal my sister Wendy's man? Hey White, don't you dare misunderstand and take Winnie's side. Our sister Wendy didn't even do much to her. If she had used force, would Winnie's arms still be intact? Actually, Winnie wasn't pretending this time. I did pull her on purpose. I gritted my teeth and leaned in close to Winnie's ear. Malice churned openly between my teeth. Winnie, are you going to keep acting like that and flaunt it in front of Bruce? I can break the ribs of the bully at the end of your street. Guess if I can break yours. The courtyard was dead silent. Everyone on the scene stared at me in shock and astonishment. Even the servant sweeping the floor nearby stopped her broom and widened her eyes, as if she had heard something extraordinary. The system screamed. Holy moly, the barrage also erupted. I'm going to confront it head-on directly. Sister Wendy, the male lead George is right beside you. How can you be so bold? Are you a dark type? I really like it. Winnie's little face turned pale. I tightened my grip on her arms slightly. Winnie let out a sharp scream, her face turning pale, and immediately cast a pleading look toward George and Bruce. Who are you looking at? I'm warning you, he's mine. Stay at least 2 meters away from him. And don't you dare touch White. Do you understand? Winnie looked at me in horror as if she had seen a ghost, nodding repeatedly in fear. Bruce staggered a step, then instantly turned right, turning his back to everyone. System says, Bruce, you're blushing. Bruce immediately covered his face and let out a silent scream. I was just hot. The butler and the servants immediately glanced at George. The young man stood silently in the center, his dark eyes deep and gloomy, like a ghost. The lush green bushes nearby cast a shadow over the upper half of his face. the smile on the lower half of the face remains at the corner of the lips. 17. Incense is burning throughout the garden, with the agarwood in the chess room being the most intense. Almost every inch of the Hainan rosewood is saturated with agarwood. I suspect George's birth chart favors water and wood. The atmosphere in the room grew somewhat stagnant for a moment, away from the radiance of two little suns. On either side of the chessboard, each was colder and gloomier than the other. With Bruce gone, I couldn't even be bothered to keep up the last layer of pretense. I crossed my legs, leaned back, propped my arm on the armrest, and stared coldly at George. The tip of the tongue rolled over a subtle mix of malice and wariness, laced with sarcasm and hostility. Master George, what do you mean by this? 666. Sister Wendy isn't even pretending anymore. What kind of boss-like posture is this? Is this a confrontation? Welcome to the showdown, top-tier aristocrat versus slum kingpin. Sister Wendy, if you had acted like this earlier, how would I have dared to scold you? This is no villainous. This is clearly the male lead and the main antagonist. George across from her wasn't the least bit angry. Instead, his dark eyes simmered with faint delight. So this is your true self. The young man lowered his gaze and smiled softly. It's indeed interesting. I rolled my eyes and asked him. You said that couple, the ones who gave birth to you, found you, is that right? The young man tapped the chessboard and glanced up casually. Truly surprising, such lowly scum could actually raise someone like you. I remained unmoved. They asked you for money, didn't they? It seems you know them well. You've only been close to me for 2 months, yet your estranged parents, like bugs, have caught the scent and come knocking. At the time, I really thought you were in cahoots with them. But since they came to the door, they were treated as guests. Uncle Zhao personally entertained them and sent them away with money a few times. I couldn't help but frown. You even gave them money. You should have had them thrown out. Huh, I thought you'd thank me. Otherwise, they would have found you long ago. George's eyes sparkled with amusement, clearly intrigued. Although they are annoying, you're quite an interesting person. Wouldn't it be a shame to just drive them away with a single blow? Or, do you want a permanent solution? Otherwise, if they take you to court in the future, you'll still have to provide the minimum alimony. Those blood-sucking leeches. My brow twitched. What are your conditions? A game of Go. If you win, anything goes. What if I lose? George leaned back, lost in thought, then suddenly raised his finger. Then you'll have to give this to me. My expression changed, and I stood up expressionlessly. Those 2 lives aren't enough to risk my own. George nodded. Then let's raise the stakes. Same principle applies. His fingertip shifted direction. I followed his fingertip to the imperial jade pendant on his chest. I've inquired about the market price before. And it's well over 8 figures. At least a small fortune. I immediately sat back down. 2 gamblers. George pressed a button on the side, and the black jade chess box slowly rose in front of me. I was outplayed in this round. So you go first, please. Bruce and the others arrived in less than half an hour. The ancestral hall scene was so intense, the so-called evil spirits turned out to be nothing but a fabrication. Master Bruce, being a professional, exposed the butler's inconsistencies with just a few questions. White initially thought it was a diversion tactic. Realizing it was a hoax, he rushed over as quickly as possible, fearing that something might happen to Sister Wendy. More than 10 bodyguards couldn't even catch up. Ha ha ha. George said to the outside, let them in. When Bruce pushed the door open, this was the scene he saw. Dappled shadows danced across the 3-story, open-plan Chinese-style luxury mansion, vast and desolate. In the center of the room, the 2 people sitting opposite each other at the chess table had expressions as calm as still water. On the chessboard, the black and white armies moved back and forth, with an undercurrent of killing intent. The barrage of comments was mindlessly praising me, but I, who truly knew George, furrowed my brow tightly. George is letting the water run. When I looked up at the sound, I happened to see Bruce frozen in place. And just as he was about to smile at me when our eyes met, Winnie behind him seemed as if she couldn't stop in time. She bumped into his back. My fingers holding the black jade stiffened. Bruce was startled and leaped back with a quick sidestep to the right. Winnie covered her head, crying as she crouched down on the ground, and Bruce instinctively reached out to support her. Are you okay? Winnie grabbed his hand, said it was nothing, and stood up. Crunch. OMG, Wendy's sister crushed the chess piece in her hand. Bruce, in danger. Winnie, in danger. The whole room was startled by the movement in my hand. Bruce instantly shook off Winnie's hand. Winnie was also stunned, quickly hiding behind the bodyguard in panic. George's pupils trembled, and I gave him a polite smile. "I'm sorry, I'll compensate for it." Then, as if nothing had happened, I replaced it with a new piece. Shortly after, Bruce crept over stealthily. He stood behind me, leaning in to scrutinize the chess game. I didn't look up until the final move sealed all escape routes for the white pieces. George smiled again. "I lost. I'll take care of your parents' matter. So, our bet. You won, and now you've got it." That. George followed my fingertip and looked down at the imperial jade hanging around his neck. He looked at me with some surprise. He chuckled lightly. I interrupted. "Forget it if it's not possible. The chess piece I accidentally broke just now can count as the wager." "Of course it's fine." With a flick of his finger, the young man deftly untied the imperial jade that had always been worn close to his body. The butler's eyes widened, trying to stop him. "No, young master, not this one. Let me get you another piece of jade. This was a gift from the old lady for your birth, meant to be passed down, Uncle Zhao." The butler closed his mouth. The barrage, however, would not shut up. "Oh my God. Has the plot gone completely insane?" In the original novel, George never gave this jade to Winnie. How come it's being given to Wendy now? George handed the necklace from his palm to me. "Then I'll give it to you, Wendy, in the future. Bring it to find me, and I can grant you any condition, anything." I accepted it without the slightest hesitation. Politely declining is the female lead's role. I'm the villain, and if I don't get it, I'll just take it. The butler's gaze toward me had already changed. "Miss Wendy, the young master has specially prepared your favorite dishes today. Shall we move to the dining room?" Bruce looked at me, and I shook my head at him, so he confidently spoke up. "No, we have something else to do." Then he grabbed me and tried to leave. George called out to us coldly from behind, pressing. "What is it?" Bruce said seriously. "Thursday. We have some business to take care of at KFC." I nodded in agreement. "Crazy Thursday. We really have to go then." The wealthy people didn't immediately grasp what we were talking about. The butler looked at me as if I were a fool. As soon as we left the green residence, the fool pinned Bruce against the wall. "What did you say to Winnie?" "Wow, I got the hidden version. Is the female supporting character actually a Yandra?" "Bruce, you're in for a treat. She's the real deal. If it weren't for George bringing up my birth parents, I wouldn't have let Bruce and Winnie be alone together. If he and the system notice anything wrong," Bruce quickly explained, "I barely spoke to her. Uncle can vouch for me." "Bruce, so you're enjoying this, huh? Being bossed around by your wife really gets you off." I let go of him. The system suddenly spoke up. "Brother Bruce, the redemption progress for the female lead can now be viewed as soon as you meet the male lead George and the supporting female character Winnie." Though it took some time to decrypt and decode, a bit strange. "Why is the task progress 0? Bruce said. "Hiss, could it be that Wendy just got angry, or is the money not enough?" I was nervous for a long time. As a result, Bruce was incredibly carefree and heartlessly chowed down on the fried chicken. I breathed a sigh of relief, thinking I could probably keep it hidden for a few more days. But I absolutely must not let them come into contact with the female lead, Winnie, again. "System says." "Brother Bruce," the system's voice suddenly spoke up, its tone cautious. "I've messed up. The backend just got in touch with the system responsible for this world." Bruce said. "What's wrong with you again? Go ask around. Which respectable system needs a strategist to clean up its mess every day?" The system said. "No, we've got the wrong person." The system was on the verge of tears. "No wonder the progress is 0. We've targeted the wrong female lead. This is the supporting female character Wendy. The female lead is Winnie." "Oh no." Bruce paused mid-bite of his fried chicken. I suddenly felt a ringing in my ears. It was as if all the blood in my body rushed backward. An overwhelming fear crushed everything. My hands and feet are ice cold. When I finally came to my senses a little, the system had already explained the whole story to Bruce, including even those details about how I imitated Winnie. How cunningly I approached and seduced George, attempting to take the female lead's place. Too fast. How so fast? The day after admitting the mistake, I hadn't had the chance to confess yet. Bruce already knows now, knows everything. He already knew. I am a despicable, selfish, and ruthless thief. I felt the young man's gaze from across the table and nervously picked up a French fry to hide my unease, mechanically stuffing it into the mouth, chewing numbly. What to do, what to do, what to do. I have lived for 17 years, and aside from poverty, this is the first time in my life I've encountered something I am powerless to change, a powerless person. I don't know what to do. I've experienced mockery, ridicule, insults, and beatings, and I've endured betrayal from parents, relatives, and friends. I've long grown accustomed to being disliked, but I am suddenly extremely terrified right now. The person opposite me said such things. System says, "Oh no, Bruce, it's all over. I wasted 2 days of your time for nothing, and you've been running around taking orders to earn money to support the female lead, all for nothing, woo-woo, but, there is some good news too. Winnie and George's progress seems to be zero as well, ha ha ha. Winnie has quite a high favorability toward you, you two just met, and it's almost higher than her feelings for the male lead George, whom she's known for a month. Great, finally some progress. Bruce. After dealing with the supporting female character, go find the female lead. According to my and the system's analysis here, the male lead George is a bit of a pervert. No wonder I have to save the female lead in a sweet romance novel. Turns out the male lead is a psycho. The system was still chattering away, and Bruce slowed down his chicken wing munching. He seemed to be hesitating, holding back his words. Finally, he took a deep breath and opened his mouth. Don't say, Wendy. He spoke in a serious tone. Why aren't you dipping it in ketchup? I stared at him in a daze. Bruce still looked as lazy and casual as ever, tore open a packet of ketchup and handed it over. While I was flustered and picking up a cup of Coke, another one was pushed toward me. This one is room temperature, ordered for you. Don't drink anything cold right now. My mind was in a tangled mess, with such a major issue looming over him. How does he still have time to remember such trivial and insignificant details? I have been feeling uneasy all along. The system has also been chattering non-stop, offering Bruce suggestions for remedies. Bruce himself doesn't seem the least bit anxious, leisurely strolling with me on the street under the pretense of aiding digestion. The system is anxious and impatient, while Bruce is taking his time. He even stopped by a fresh market to restock and took a detour to visit a landmark attraction. After returning, the system finally came up with a solution. Bruce, the fastest and most effective opportunity has arrived now. Tomorrow, George and Winnie will be kidnapped at the cruise ship party. As long as you rescue Winnie, our mission to redeem the female lead will be considered complete. Saving her counts as redemption too. Bruce finally responded to it. All right then. The system breathed a sigh of relief. I'm about to run out of breath. Bruce is about to leave. But this person is so annoying. He's already planned to leave. So why is he still organizing the newly bought items? In the intervals between collecting clothes, restocking the fridge, and cleaning, I also brewed a cup of brown sugar water. While I was spacing out, my mobile banking app suddenly popped up with a large transfer notification. My hand trembled as I tapped to check it. It's a sum of money that would ensure I never have to worry about food or clothing for the rest of my life. I clutched my phone so tightly, using all my strength to keep from throwing it. I heard myself ask calmly, "What do you mean by this?" Bruce was completely unaware of anything amiss, scrolling through the food delivery app. "I have to go out tomorrow, not sure when I'll be back. Since you're short on money, I'll leave this with you for now." My eyes welled up with tears. Bruce wouldn't be coming back. Boss Bob gave me all the money he settled with the Green family, everyone. Before getting rid of me as a burden, would just pay me off. My mom did it. My relatives did it. Everyone did it. I made an excuse that I wasn't feeling well and went back to my room. All the faces flashed before my eyes. Disgust, hatred, fear, they twist into terrifying monsters. One moment, it's the drunken man's fists raining down on me. I curl up in pain in the corner, watching the woman cry as she's beaten. Then cook a meal and serve it to him, after the kitchen lights go out. I crawl up and fumble in the dark, secretly chewing the cold fried rice left in the pot. The next second, a young man in a white t-shirt is bustling around the kitchen, smiling as he serves breakfast, even setting out the chopsticks. The monster looms faintly. She's a freak. Don't play with her. Wendy's dad borrowed money and didn't pay it back. Their house got smashed up, and red paint was splashed all over it. Wendy beat up Sister Hong and her gangster boyfriend. It's really scary. Better not get involved with people like that. Last time I saw her working at the recycling station, how can she be that poor and not start a fundraiser? Suddenly, it was Bruce's voice again, Bruce's face. When I was little, I used my mom's cream and she found out. She pulled my hair and scolded me, saying I didn't deserve to use something so nice. From childhood, I always wore my cousin's hand-me-down clothes. Then Bruce paid without batting an eye, saying casually with a laugh, "Girl, you're too rough on yourself. I don't know much about skincare, but expensive stuff must be better, right?" I'm going crazy. My hands reached for my hair, only to find my face wet with tears. Why am I crying? The barrage of comments surrounding me was also stunned. Is the supporting female character this moved? The door was suddenly knocked. I responded, and Bruce came in with the meal, looking startled when he saw me. "Does it hurt that much?" He hurried to get hot water and handed it to me along with ibuprofen. "Take your medicine first. I'll heat up the food in a bit." He left only after putting a heating pad on me. "He can't leave. Don't let him go." Bruce turned over in the night, his arm pulling abruptly. The cold metal jolted him awake from his sleep. "What the hell?" He was startled by me standing at the head of the bed. What scared him even more were the handcuffs on his wrist. Bruce tugged, and they were fastened tightly. I lowered my eyes. "Don't move around. It'll hurt," Bruce said. "Where the hell did you get this thing? Wendy, what are you doing?" I say, "This isn't important." The comments are going crazy. The screen is filled with people asking if I'm into bondage play. The system says, "What the hell is going on?" I just stepped away for a moment and the female supporting character has gone crazy. "Bruce, oh no, you're about to get killed." "I knew it," I softly retorted. "No, I'm not crazy, and I won't kill him." Bruce's eyes instantly widened. The system let out a sharp, piercing shriek. It laid its cards on the table. "Holy crap. You can hear me talking." The barrage of comments was stunned. I looked at everyone and calmly spoke out what I could see. The barrage of comments went wild. I had no time to deal with the comments or the system. I stared at Bruce. "It was me who played you. I knew from the start that you mistook me for the female lead, but I'm the supporting female character." Bruce stared at me in shock, speaking with difficulty. "I was the one who made the mistake. It's not your fault. What's so redeemable about Winnie that no one comes to redeem me? Since you already made the mistake, why can't you just keep going with it?" My hand holding the phone trembled. "I don't want your money." After transferring it all back, I showed it to him. "I want you." Bruce was taken aback. "I know you want to save Winnie, but you are not allowed to go." His vision began to blur. "Bruce, you can't do this. For the first 17 years of my life, I was never treated well, never loved. I never knew I was pitiful. I've been walking in darkness for 17 years. Either don't show up at all, or what's the point of appearing like this for just a few days and being so good to me? I know you didn't mean to be so kind to me. You're just that kind of person." Hot tears streamed down one after another from the eyes. "Why do you have to be so good? I'd rather you mock and look down on me like the others, so I wouldn't. It wouldn't be so painful anymore." I ignored Bruce's outstretched hand, collapsing in agony and despair into his embrace. Holding on to him desperately and pleadingly, though it was futile, tears flooded my vision, blurring everything completely. Those painful memories and him flashed back and forth in my mind, driving me nearly insane. "You should treat me the way they do, so I wouldn't even hate you. I'd rather hate you than feel like this. Love is more terrifying than hate." With her face pressed against the young man's neck, scalding tears trickled down his neck inch by inch, gradually soaking his collar. "You just want to walk away. How am I supposed to endure life without you now? If one has seen the sun, how can they continue to endure the darkness?" "Wendy, listen to me first," Bruce said. He was suddenly pushed by me, his whole body stiffened, and he fell onto the bed, staring at me in shock as I approached. The cool, icy imperial jade pressed against his face. My voice was very calm. "Bruce, if we sell this, we'll have a lot of money. You should keep it. You used to make the money. Now it's my turn to take care of you." "Wow, girls, forget about all that for now. I always thought they had swapped scripts." Bruce was stunned and was about to say something, but I cut him off directly. Bruce's mind exploded with a shock. "Oh my God, they kissed. They kissed. Yes, yes, I love watching forced kisses. How is this not a match made in heaven?" The barrage of comments, with everyone adding to the chaos in times of trouble, surged like never before, all offering terrible advice. Wendy, sis, you're tying it wrong, handcuffs alone aren't enough, click the link to check out the bondage tutorial. The system, however, was very anxious. He has to go, saving the female lead is our mission. If we fail the main quest, the strategist will vanish. What? I suddenly looked up, while Bruce below hadn't yet snapped out of it. I've been diverted from the line of fire. Then can't you change the task of redeeming the female lead to redeeming me, if it's redeeming me? It's already done now. The system could only apologize. Sorry, the task was set by the higher-ups. I can't make the call, and now there's a change. The female lead might actually die on the cruise ship. The male and female leads are the core of the world. If they die, it's all over. So, I interrupted, we just need to save Winnie and the others, right? Bruce suddenly realized and hurriedly tried to stop me, saying, no, Wendy, then I'll go save them and credit him with the success. Won't that work? The system fell into deep thought. Seems like this could work. I held down Bruce's other hand, my voice calm. I delayed your mission, forcing you to take the riskiest path to fix it. If you go, aren't you just walking to your death? Bruce tried to get up. No, Wendy, you definitely can't go. The ones planning the kidnapping aren't ordinary thugs. They're an international crime syndicate. I pushed him back directly. So you're not allowed to go. You're too weak. You'll die there. Don't worry about me. Just ask the system and the bullet comments, and you'll know. I, Wendy, am the biggest villain in this world. The bullet comments and the system, for once, agreed. That's true, Wendy. What are you messing around for, you little girl? Bruce. I stared at him deeply, then quickly covered his mouth and nose with the towel I had prepared earlier. Damn, where did you get the anesthetic? Get some sleep. Bruce, I whispered to him, get some sleep. And everything will be resolved when you wake up. I just wanted to ask you one last thing. After your mission is over, for the remaining time, could you stay with me a little longer? Bruce's eyes reddened, a sob was muffled beneath the towel. Wendy, don't do anything foolish. He collapsed. I'm the one who harmed him. If they hadn't mistaken the person, the mission to rescue the female lead Winnie could have been completed these past 2 days. There would have been no need for him to take the risk to save someone. Kidnappers don't believe in feng shui or metaphysics. Mages are all fragile. But I'm different. If I go, there might still be a slim chance of survival. I unlocked the handcuffs from the headboard and stared at the unconscious person on the bed for a long time. System, send me the mission. Before boarding the ship, I contacted the police. There are many influential figures on the cruise ship, so we can't alert the enemy. The kidnappers have already taken control of the ship, and everyone will be their hostage. The speed increased shortly after leaving the port, and within less than an hour, they reached international waters. The wealthy passengers were unconcerned, as their business on board was far from legal anyway. Damn, the original text was so intense. George and Winnie barely escaped with their lives after the Green family's ransom was delivered. Wendy has nothing to do with this part of the plot. All of the Green family's bodyguards are dead. Can she handle it? Post something useful and don't interfere with Sister Wendy's operation. Gunshots and screams suddenly rang out upstairs. In less than 20 minutes, all the guests on the ship were actually subdued. The system was somewhat useful, temporarily allowing me to be mistaken for a member of the kidnappers' group. And my waiter disguise didn't arouse their suspicion. A lawless land. Armed to the teeth, corpses and bloodstains. Being there feels like walking on a tightrope. Any slight movement makes you fear you've been discovered. The system navigation led me into the encrypted control room. All right, I've connected to their internal system. George and Winnie are on the 7th floor, and many of the people around them have been killed. You go save the person first. Try not to alert anyone else, or the similar blurring prop will fail. Winnie screamed for help, being dragged by her hair toward the bed. George, save me. George didn't move. A knife was pressed against his neck. I stepped over the corpse and delivered a heavy punch to the brainstem area of the person in front of me. The kidnapper collapsed with a thud, revealing Winnie's terrified face. Before she could speak, the knife at George's neck moved. The knife flew out. The man clutched his broken hand, not even having the chance to cry out before I grabbed him by the collar and slammed him against the wall with all my might. He soon fell silent. No wonder Sister Wendy didn't let Bruce come. You're such a badass, sis. Winnie gasped for breath, crawling over to my side as if she had just escaped death. I coldly locked the door, George's eyes firmly fixed on me. It actually sounded somewhat nostalgic. Wendy, shut up. I glared at the two of them warningly and tossed the waiter's clothes. Change. System flattery, Sister Wendy, I bow down to you. I led the two useless ones, following the system's guidance through the secret passage, being extra careful to avoid the kidnappers along the way. The system says they cut off all network communications, but I shared the real-time location with Interpol as soon as we boarded. They'll arrive in about 40 minutes, but in less than 10 minutes. The kidnappers had already discovered George was missing. I was dragging along two useless male and female leads with no self-defense skills, and within 5 minutes, we were caught up by a few kidnappers. You sure can run, young Master George. If the $500 million is transferred within half an hour, we'll let you go, won't we? The three of us were completely surrounded, 3 guns, 2 knives, and I only had 1 gun hidden on me. I don't know how to use a gun, so I can't force my way. I'm no match for them. So I obediently raised my hands and gave up resisting. One of them grabbed my hair and yanked me off balance. Hey, with an extra person, that $500 million isn't enough anymore. Don't touch her. George suddenly spoke up. I'll pay whatever extra you want. The man laughed, his sinister gaze sweeping over my face. All right, then. I was suddenly shoved by a tremendous force, thrown 10 meters away, right next to the stairwell. I quickly ducked inside and looked up. But no one was paying any attention to me anymore. A figure in white was swiftly engaged in a fight with the kidnappers. In just a few moves, they managed to knock the guns out of their hands. The movements were fluid and graceful, vaguely reminiscent of Tai Chi, and within moments, both the people and their weapons were sent flying, precisely shattering large panes of glass. They all fell into the sea together. Bruce. The comments were all like, what the heck? Bruce stopped what he was doing and looked in my direction. His eyes suddenly turned sharp. A sixth sense instinctively warned me of danger. I turned around and delivered a heavy elbow strike behind me. A large hand, with immense strength, gripped my arm tightly. It was a foreigner nearly 2 meters tall, his body packed with muscles, both tall and burly, exuding an intense aura of killing intent, like a mercenary. The scar-faced man grabbed me by the neck as if lifting a chick and hoisted me up. A fierce gust of wind suddenly swept up behind me. The young man stepped twice and vaulted onto the wall, leaping into the air, his long blade descending directly toward my head. The grip on my neck suddenly loosened, a rough, agonized cry was heard, and I was pulled into someone's embrace as we retreated backward. It felt like I was airborne for a moment. After landing, Bruce cautiously pulled me behind him. The scar-faced man spat out a mouthful of blood and cursed angrily. Directly pulled out a submachine gun even more intimidating than the ones the kidnappers had. Bruce shoved me aside. Another gun. Do you really think I'd fall into the same trap twice? The young man pressed 2 fingers together, swiftly forming a hand seal, and a yellow talisman inscribed with blood-red characters suddenly attached itself to the blade. Even if you pull out the truth this time, it's useless, in the urgent situation, without even kicking off the wall. He leaped into the air in a few steps, gripping the blade and slashing horizontally downward. The gun was actually shattered by a single slash of the blade. Instantly, it cut through iron as if it were mud. Bruce's attack was fierce, the tip of the blade grazing the scar-faced man's wrist. The man seemed as if his tendons had been severed, his hands trembling violently as he looked up in terror. Then, the young man's long arms swept him up, sending them both tumbling down the stairs. Crashing through the glass and into the sea, the 3 of us watched in shock as he finished off the remaining stragglers. He didn't go for the kill, showing mercy by sparing their lives, but wanting to disarm their ability to fight back. He threw them all into the sea. It's fine, the police will be here soon anyway. Let's go quickly. Bruce led the way, clearing out the enemies. My heart was pounding, and I couldn't help but ask, you clearly could beat me, so why didn't you fight back? Bruce stumbled under his feet. You used an anesthetic, and I only act when I'm in danger, and you're just too reckless. If I had been a moment later, you would have lost your life. Could you at least discuss it with me next time? Huh? Bruce slashed through monsters like cutting vegetables, and the screen was so filled with, so handsome, that it almost blocked my view. His hand gripped me firmly, moving swiftly. rushing all the way into the control room. Bruce took care of the people inside and threw them into the sea, temporarily securing the area. Rescue was still 15 minutes away. The four of them leaned back against the alloy door and couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief at the same time. The system suddenly spoke. Bruce, you have 15 minutes left. That's enough. Bruce suddenly walked toward Winnie. Miss Wendy, Winnie was taken aback. The next moment, a sharp pain shot through the back of her neck, and she passed out. Bruce, with an unreadable expression, dragged her to the center of the room, and I followed, puzzled. He suddenly turned to look at me and pointed to a spot, in a soft tone. Wendy, sit cross-legged there, and don't move no matter what happens. I was confused, but I trusted him and did as he said. Bruce pulled out a brush from somewhere, after positioning Winnie. He knelt on the ground, bowing his head and focusing intently on drawing something. It vaguely resembled some kind of formation. Wendy, when I learned your birth details, I cast a divination for you. Your fate is unusual, and your fortune is quite strange. While drawing with cinnabar, Bruce suddenly spoke. When I passed out, my sister contacted me. I haven't told you yet. She is the main system. I came here to help as well. She said, Winnie used the system to secretly swap your fate, deceiving the world's core, and you are the true protagonist of this world. You originally met George much earlier. He was kidnapped and taken to the slums, and you saved him, which made him fall in love with you. The bullet comments you see are one of the effects caused by her altering the main storyline, and the second effect is our appearance. To be honest, at this point, there's nothing I can't accept anymore, I said. Then why did you knock her out and draw the formation? Because if I didn't knock her out, there's a high chance that system would possess her and fight back, which would be very troublesome. Bruce finished drawing all the intricate patterns and talismans. Wendy, I'll help you switch back. He straightened up and sat on the last array node. Bruce looked at George. Later, you must protect her well. She cannot leave the array node. If anything goes wrong, she will. George spoke up. I understand. The lights in the control room suddenly went out, plunging everything into darkness. Yet the array on the ground glowed with a dim red light, and something seemed to be flowing in the air, slowly gathering and entering my body. What I saw before my eyes defied all logic, but for some reason, I watched Bruce sitting in meditation across from me. My heart suddenly started beating rapidly. With a strong sense of foreboding, Bruce suddenly coughed, spitting out a large amount of blood. It felt as if all his energy had been drained, leaving him gaunt and emaciated. His thin shoulders and back suddenly hunched over. Bruce, stop, stop. I tried to stand up, but George behind me held me down firmly. His voice trembled. Wendy, don't go over there. You can't interrupt him right now. Bruce suddenly coughed up a large amount of blood again. The white t-shirt was instantly soaked with a large amount of blood. The young man's face turned pale, and blood continuously spilled from the corner of his mouth. Bruce. My eyes widened in fury, and I used all my strength to break free from George. Stop it. Are you trying to get yourself killed? You're going to die. Bruce turned a deaf ear, his eyes tightly shut, his hands trembling as he formed the hand seals. After what felt like an eternity, it finally ended. The runic array on the ground slowly dissipated and melted away. Bruce collapsed. I rushed over frantically, trembling as I helped him up. Bruce leaned on my shoulder, his face ashen, as if he had exhausted all his strength. The chosen one of the heavenly rules. Truly, the karmic ties are too strong. You're absolutely insane. A supporting female character is just a supporting female character. Damn it, I don't want this fate. Tears fell drop by drop onto his face. Bruce was breathing more in than out, struggling to lift his hand. It has to be changed. Her death curse has fallen on you too. Winnie died in this kidnapping case. If we don't change it today, you'll die in her place, system says. Bruce, 3 minutes left. I could no longer hold back and burst into loud sobs. So you decided to die in my place. Who gave you the right to make that decision? That was my fate too. But you shouldn't have such a fate. Stop crying. Bruce flashed a smile at me, just like the day he first appeared. I actually didn't want to leave. Before I knew the truth, I had already calculated your life-threatening calamity. I kept it from you because I didn't want you to go. When I realized I had mistaken you for someone else, I didn't want to abandon you either. Really, I held on to him tightly. crying so hard that I could barely form the words, I know, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, my face pressed against his chest, tears and blood mingling together. Bruce, I beg you, please don't die, Bruce said, don't cry, I won't die, I'm sorry, there's something I never told you. The moment the mission is complete, I will leave this place, I can't stay with you for much longer. My heart suddenly pounded heavily. I tried my best to force a smile. It's okay, as long as you're alive, as long as you're alive. I want to thank you, I'll be fine on my own, it's okay. The air raid sirens suddenly blared outside, and the roar of helicopters filled the air with noise. Rescue has finally arrived here, Wendy. Bruce suddenly called out to me, stay alive. The door was opened by the SWAT team, and Winnie was carried out on a stretcher. I supported Bruce as we followed behind them, step by step toward the deck. I kept saying, Bruce, hold on a little longer, the medical staff are here. On the horizon of the sea, a red sun slowly rose. Strategist Bruce, the mission to redeem the female lead is complete. Suddenly, the weight on my shoulders vanished, dissipating into the air with the wind. The long night has ended, the sun rises over the sea. And the day has dawned, but my sun has set. The dense barrage of comments before my eyes dissipated like dust. I could no longer see the barrage. The cruise ship docked, and on the deck, families reunited, voices bustling with the joy of surviving a disaster. The moment the signal was restored, a transfer notification from last night popped up on my phone. I finally couldn't hold it in any longer. I crouched on the ground, hugging my legs, and burst into loud sobs. On the third day of meeting Bruce, he left me. Epilogue. No one remembers Bruce anymore. It's as if he never existed. The money in the mobile banking app turned into a lottery prize I won, but all the thorns on the path of my life have been cleared away by him, leaving a broad and smooth road. George recalled memories from 2 lifetimes, rejected my proposal for the 8th time. He smiled bitterly. He's gone. Do I still not have a chance? Wendy, for 2 lifetimes. You never loved me. In the last life, I could keep you with money. In this life, I returned the imperial green jade to him. Over the course of a year, I visited one Taoist temple after another, and went to one orphanage after another. I know it's futile, there can't be a Bruce in this world. Kathy suddenly appeared before me one day. The little ball of light beside her had a very familiar voice. It was the system from Bruce. Hello, Wendy, I am Bruce's sister, and also the main system. Kathy, your will is too strong. I have been summoned. Sister-in-law, my brother is fine. The flow of time is different between the 2 worlds. A year has passed here, but Bruce has only been lying on the mountain for a month. Are you sure you want to give up everything in this world and bind with me? Amid the green waves of the mountain forest, ascending the stone steps, the sea of clouds drifts ethereally outside the Taoist temple. Incense smoke rises continuously, and visitors stream in like a woven tapestry. I paid for the incense and queued up to enter the hall for worship. As I rose from my bow, I caught a glimpse of a corner of white robes in my peripheral vision. A familiar, carefree voice rang in my ears. Some seek wealth, some seek fate. Patron, what have you come seeking? The young man beside the statue smiled, his features gradually overlapping with the figure in my memory. Before a word was spoken, tears had already begun to fall. Bruce was startled and hurried over to wipe away my tears. I'm just teasing you, don't cry. I held his wrist. It's warm, he's alive. Bruce froze for a moment, then tightened his grip on my hand. I gaze at the person before me, and answer softly. For the sake of past ties, for the sake of one person, I have come for you. My sun has finally shone upon me once again. After hearing the story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.